Hi, this is Kimberly Floyd, a certified wellness coach, author, and creator of Take Back Your Temple, the system that gives you 5 small steps to help you reach your perfect weight. I want to talk to you today about a serious issue, which is sugar addiction, because I know there are a lot of people who are addicted to sugar and want to find a way to get out of that. So I'd just like to give you a few tips on how you can overcome sugar addiction. The first thing that you have to realize is that sugar really is a drug, because when you eat sugar, it really impacts 2 chemicals or neurotransmitters in your brain. The first one is serotonin, which is a chemical that makes you feel calm and restores a sense of well-being. The second one is beta endorphin, which is like a pleasure chemical in your brain. So when you eat sugar, it increases those 2 neurotransmitters in your brain. It makes you feel good, makes you feel calm, makes you feel well. But the only problem is that along with that, it also raises your blood sugar very high. And when you eat sugar, your body produces a hormone called insulin. And one of the jobs of insulin is to make sure that your blood sugar stays in balance. So when you eat sugar and your blood sugar goes very high, your body releases insulin to pull that sugar from your bloodstream into your cells to restore balance. Now, usually what happens is, though, your body does that a little bit too well. So it pulls the sugar from your bloodstream into your cells, and when your blood sugar drops, you start feeling tired, you start feeling irritable, you get brain fog. So what happens with a lot of people when you eat a lot of sugar is your blood sugar goes up and then it goes way down. So all day what you're doing is you're on a loop-de-loop where you're going up and down and up and down. So if you're having problems with mood swings and you're eating a lot of sugar, that's probably part of the reason, is your blood sugar is on a loop-de-loop all day. But what you want to do with sugar addiction is there are ways that you can actually control that. So I'm going to go ahead and give you a couple of tips. Now, the first thing that you want to do, though, when it comes to sugar is you want to go back to the beginning, because a lot of times our fondness for sugar goes back to childhood. Now, I know that it did for me. In fact, when I was a kid, my mom used to be a single mom, and one of the things that she used to do before she went to work was she used to give me candy money. So she would give me candy money, and I would go around to the corner store. She'd drop me off at the Sitters. I'd walk around to the corner store, and whenever she worked, I'd have my candy money, and I'd go get my candy bar. And generally, to be honest, now that I'm older, I recognized that I was really lonely, and I would eat candy to kind of comfort myself from that. Well, as I became an adult, I began to associate sugary foods with comfort. So one of the things that I had to do, and this is going to be part of the second step, is going to be to go back to the beginning. Secondly, you want to rethink your choices, because I realized that when I was emotionally upset, one of the things that I wanted to do was to turn to sugar to comfort myself, just like I did when I was 5 and 6 and beyond. So, the Bible says that when I was a child, I thought as a top child, I spoke as a child, but when I became a man or woman, I put away childish things. Well, one of the things that you want to do as a grown-up now is to ask yourself, is this still working for me? And if it isn't, which it isn't really, because you can't use sugar to deal with emotional upsets, then you want to rethink your coping choices and come up with better ways to deal with your emotions. The third thing is you want to ask God for help, because if sugar really is an addiction in your life, and any type of addiction, whether it's through any other type of food or sex or drugs, you always want to ask God for help, because He will replace your weakness with His strength. Fourthly, you want to start putting in more whole foods into your life, like you want to eat more green vegetables, citrus fruits, lean proteins, those type of things, because that will give you B and C vitamins, which will help your body to convert food into energy and help you to stabilize your blood sugar. So if you eat more whole foods, like I said, fruits and vegetables, those type of things, eat high fiber fruits. I'm a big fan of those, because that will also help you with your sweet tooth, but it won't cause those blood sugar rises and crashes like eating refined sugar does. So you want to add more whole foods into your life. Fifthly, what you want to do is you want to limit the sugar in your life. And you knew I was going to get to that one, right? But of course, if you're addicted to sugar, you don't want to include those same amounts into your life. So Read labels, okay? Because a lot of labels, a lot of foods that you may not even be aware of contain sugar. So you want to look for words besides the obvious, because you'll notice that if, certain things on the label will have sugar or syrup, you obviously know that's sugar, right? But then there are things that you may not recognize as sugar, like dextrose, sucrose, fructose, anything with an "ose" on the end, that means it contains sugar. You look for barley malt, anything like that will give you a clue that that product contains sugar. Now, having sugar in the item is not bad. It's just if it's in the first three listing on the label, then you know that a high percentage of that item contains sugar, and you want to choose a item where sugar is a little bit lower on the list, because that means it's lower in sugar. So you also want to read the label and look for the grams of sugar in each item, because if an item contains more than 10 grams of sugar per serving, that is a high sugar item, and you don't want that. You want to choose another alternative that will contain less sugar, because sugar is one of those substances where the more you get, the more you want. And you don't want to trigger any craving, so you want to be sure that the foods that you're eating have reasonable or low portions of sugar in them. Next, you want to see if there are other ways that you can raise those feel-good chemicals in your brain rather than eating sugar. Now, you remember earlier I said that when you eat sugar, it raises two neurotransmitters in your brain that make you feel good, serotonin and beta endorphin. Well, there are other ways that you can use to raise those chemicals and make yourself feel good without the sugar. The first thing that you can do is just simply hug yourself, or get a hug from someone, because those type of things make you feel good. And if you're married, then having sex will also raise those chemicals. Sunshine is another way that you could raise those chemicals in your brain. Getting 15 or 20 minutes of sun exposure will also do that. Laughter is another way that you could raise serotonin and beta endorphin in your brain. Get a clean joke book or watch a comedy movie. Those type of things will also raise your those chemicals and make you feel good. Listen to some uplifting music, like some praise music. Those type of things will also activate the pleasure centers in your brain. The bottom line is, with any addiction, it is difficult to experience true joy and peace as long as you allow any type of addiction to reign in your life. So you want to be sure that you get those type of things under control. Now, on my website, I actually describe these steps in a little bit more detail. So just go ahead and visit www.takebackyourtemple.com, and you should see an article entitled Sugar Addiction Breaking Free for Good, and it will be under my blog post. And if not, then you can look under, I shouldn't say if not, because it is there, but you might have to look under the archives if you're watching this a little bit later than I posted it, but it is there. So it's called Sugar Addiction Breaking Free for Good. If emotional eating is an issue, you can also go to my website and receive a free special report on 7 steps to overcoming emotional eating, and that should be a blessing to you as well. I hope these tips have been helpful. Again, if you'd like to learn more about how to lose weight from a Christian perspective, then visit my website, which is www.takebackyourtemple.com. Thank you.